The biggest enemy you'll meet will always be yourself. Nothing you do or say will be as important as the things you accept. When the world, and specifically your close friends, suddenly seems to turn its back on you, the pain isn't just in the loss of companionship, it's in the self-doubt and the loss of control. You search frantically for an explanation, an apology, a reason that will fit the magnitude of your hurt. But what if the only person you truly need to satisfy isn't one of them, but the one looking back in the mirror? Stoicism offers a profound path through this very human agony. It doesn't promise to bring your friends back, but it promises to return you to yourself, stronger and more resilient than before. The Stoic framework, distinguishing what is yours. The central pillar of Stoicism, articulated by Epictetus, is the dichotomy of control. This is the first, and most crucial, step in processing any external event, especially social rejection. 1. The external is not yours. The actions of others, your friends' thoughts, feelings, decisions, and actions are external to your mind. They are not up to you. You cannot make them like you, force them to stay, or compel them to be kind. Reputation and perception, how others perceive you, their judgment, their narrative about you, is also outside your control. You can act virtuously, but you cannot dictate their interpretation of your actions. The rejection itself, the act of them turning against you, is an event that has already occurred in the external world. You cannot undo it. 2. The internal is yours. Your judgment, proherasis. The only thing fully within your power is how you judge and respond to the event. Do you label it a catastrophe? A cruel injustice? A necessary lesson? Your interpretation is your power. Your character, virtue, your commitment to being a good, just, courageous, and temperate person is entirely within your domain. Rejection may test your character, but it cannot take it away unless you permit it. Your response, your reaction, whether you succumb to bitterness, seek revenge, or choose dignity and self-improvement, is entirely your choice. Stoic insight, the pain you feel isn't caused by their actions, but by your agreement with the judgment that their actions are terrible and must not be happening. The goal is to withdraw the judgment and reclaim your power. Why did they turn against me? A Stoic perspective on flawed judgments. The Stoic does not seek to assign blame, but to understand the causes rooted in human nature, recognizing that their actions likely stemmed from their own confusion, fear, or flawed reasoning, not necessarily a calculated plot against your worth. 1. The fragility of external relationships, indifference. Friends, family, and relationships are preferred indifference. They are valuable and desirable, but their existence is not necessary for your happiness, eudaimonia. Uncertainty, friends are on loan from fortune. They can be taken away at any time through death, distance, or a simple change of mind. Acknowledging this premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils, prepares the mind for loss, mitigating the shock. Expectation versus reality, you likely held a non-Stoic expectation that true friendship is permanent, reliable, and unconditional. The shock of rejection is the clash between this beautiful ideal and the messy, inconsistent reality of human nature. 2. Their actions are based on their impressions. Your friends acted based on what they perceived as correct, necessary, or advantageous. Flawed logic, they may have been operating on false impressions, a misunderstanding, a rumor, or a self-serving narrative. They are simply making an error in judgment, believing that turning against you is the right or prudent thing to do. Their error is a form of suffering, or lack of virtue, on their part, not a reflection of your worth. Social dynamics, they might be motivated by fear, conformity, or the pursuit of a different, perceived, higher status group. This is their vice, not your fault. Seneca reminds us, we are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more from imagination than from reality. They are responding to an imagined threat or a desire for external validation. 3. The test of character. This rejection is an opportunity for virtue. A test of justice, can you respond with fairness, avoiding slander or immediate revenge, even when wronged? A test of temperance, can you control the urge to despair, rage, or excessive self-pity? A test of courage, can you face the social consequences and the loneliness with an unbowed spirit? A test of wisdom, can you learn the limits of friendship and the need for self-reliance? Conclusion, the why is ultimately irrelevant to your task. The precise reason is an external fact, a detail. The important thing is that the reason for their action cannot destroy your capacity for virtue. Practical Stoic steps for recovery and resilience. Do not wallow in the why me, but focus on the what now. Step 1. Withdraw and recenter, the inner citadel. The apatheia of emotion, apatheia, in the Stoic sense, is not apathy, but freedom from destructive, irrational passions, like despair, intense rage, or bitterness. Allow the initial wave of hurt to pass without identifying with it. Acknowledge, this is a painful feeling, but it is not me. The view from above, imagine this event from a great height, a tiny squabble in a vast cosmos. This technique helps diminish the overwhelming intensity of the present moment and provides perspective. Journaling/negative visualization, write down your worst fears about the rejection, e.g., I will be alone forever, I'm unlovable. Then, intellectually challenge each fear. This process, actively facing the pain, diminishes its power. Step 2. The assessment of self, the honest audit. While you accept that their action is external, a Stoic must always conduct an unflinching self-assessment to ensure they were not culpable. This is not about self-blame, but self-improvement. Ask, did I violate any of the cardinal virtues? Was I unjust, intemperate, cowardly, or unwise in my dealings with them? If yes, accept it. Apologize only if it aligns with your dignity and virtue, i.e., if your fault was real and significant, and an apology would mend a genuine rupture. If the fault was minor and their reaction was extreme, an apology is unnecessary. The main work is correcting the flaw in your own character moving forward. If no, then you have nothing to regret. You acted virtuously, and their rejection is simply a failure of their moral judgment. Your conscience remains clear. This is the true prize. Step 3. Action, focusing on the controllables. Now that you have acknowledged the loss and assessed your role, you turn all energy toward the things you can control. Focus on duties, logos. Redouble your efforts in your work, studies, health, and responsibilities. This is where your true worth is expressed, not in the fickle opinions of others. Set your course by a star, not by the lights of every passing ship. Cultivate self-sufficiency, autarkia. Realize that your happiness depends only on your proper use of reason. Use this newfound time and space to develop hobbies, read, exercise, and deepen your own personal philosophy. The less you need others' approval, the more attractive you become to genuine people. Find new, virtuous connections, do not isolate, but be discerning. Seek new companions who are drawn to your character and your pursuit of virtue, not to superficial benefits or social status. A few true, solid friends are infinitely better than a crowd of fickle acquaintances. The final Stoic lesson, the advantage of misfortune. Marcus Aurelius viewed every obstacle as an opportunity for growth. This rejection is a gift, though one wrapped in barbed wire. Clarity, it has clarified who the superficial acquaintances are and forced you to define your core values without their input. Strengthening, it is a mental exercise that strengthens your patience and endurance. You have faced a painful social blow and survived. You now know you are stronger than you thought. Freedom, you are no longer bound by the need to conform to their expectations or by the obligation of maintaining a relationship that was ultimately non-virtuous. You are free to pursue your own highest good. The Stoic doesn't ask, why did this happen to me, but what can I make of this? The answer is simple, you can use it to build a foundation of inner strength and self-respect so solid that no external storm, no betrayal, no rumor, no rejection, can ever shake your belief in your own value. Focus on your character, and let the uncontrollable external world follow its own messy, unpredictable course. Your worth is intrinsic and unassailable. Keep your eyes on the prize, a life lived well, according to nature and reason. Embracing solitude, the laboratory of self-reliance. One of the hardest adjustments after sudden rejection is the shock of solitude. Previously filled hours are now empty, and the silence echoes with the painful question, where did everyone go? The Stoic doesn't fear this emptiness, they see it as a fertile ground for growth, the laboratory of self-reliance. 1. The necessity of inner dialogue, reading and reflection. When your external conversations cease, your internal dialogue must become richer. Consult the sages. This is the perfect time to engage in conversations with the great minds who have already navigated human suffering. Read Marcus Aurelius's Meditations, Epictetus's Discourses, and Seneca's Letters. They are not dead, they are your new, reliable, and wisest friends. Seneca noted, we should hunt out the men who have been of most service to us, and those who have lived up to their tenets, by their help we shall be lifted up. The daily examination, practice the Stoic habit of the evening review. Before sleep, review your day, specifically your interactions, or lack thereof. Ask. Where did I give into anger or sadness? What impression did I wrongly assent to? What opportunity for virtue did I miss? What good impression, e.g., courage, patience, did I maintain? This rigorous self-scrutiny shifts the focus from their injustice to your progress. 2. Solitude versus loneliness, defining autarkia. Solitude is a chosen state of self-communion and focus, loneliness is a painful feeling of being unwanted or disconnected. The Stoic seeks the former to destroy the latter. The inner citadel, Marcus Aurelius famously wrote, men seek retreats for themselves, houses in the country, seashores, and mountains. But this is altogether a mark of the most common sort of men, for it is in your power whenever you shall choose to retire into yourself. Your inner mind, governed by reason, logos, is your true sanctuary. You are never truly alone when you have your own reason to guide you. A test of neediness, this period reveals how much you were relying on external validation. Were you a virtuous person because your friends affirmed it? Or are you a virtuous person regardless of their opinion? True autarkia, self-sufficiency, means the answer must be the latter. Use the solitude to prove to yourself that your happiness is an internal construct, not a group agreement. Mastering the obstacle, amor fati and the acceptance of what is. The sudden rejection is an undeniable fact. The Stoic concept of amor fati, love of one's fate, is the ultimate psychological tool for turning this fact into strength. 1. The power of acceptance, it had to happen. To practice amor fati is to not just tolerate the painful event, but to genuinely wish it to be so. This is because you recognize two truths. The necessity of the whole, every event is part of the interconnected chain of cause and effect, nature/providence. If your friends turned on you, it was an inevitable consequence of their past judgments, their character, and the dynamics of your group. Fighting this fact is fighting reality itself. The utility for you, this event is precisely the challenge you need to develop specific virtues, resilience, independence, and discernment. Like a blacksmith who needs fire to temper steel, you need adversity to forge your character. You embrace the rejection because it is the necessary material for your own philosophical progress. 2. Dealing with rumors and slander, the unassailable inner life. In social rejection, the turning point is often accompanied by a false narrative or spreading of rumors. This is where your commitment to the dichotomy of control is most fiercely tested. Their words are air, what they say about you is external to you. It is merely sound waves, ink on a screen, or flawed impressions in their minds. If someone is able to show me that I am making a mistake or thinking improperly, I will gladly change. For I seek the truth, by which no one has ever truly been harmed. It is the person who continues in his self-deception and ignorance who is harmed. Marcus Aurelius. Focus on your actions, not their commentary. Your only judge is reason. If your conscience is clear, if you know you acted with justice and honesty, then their judgment is null and void. The Stoic lives by the principle that true goodness requires no witness and is immune to slander. Their lies cannot touch your core character, only your temporary reputation. Moving forward, building a virtuous future. The goal isn't just to survive the rejection, but to use the lessons learned to build a life immune to such superficial blows. 1. Re-evaluating the standard of friendship. The failure of the past relationship must inform your standards for the future. The measure of virtue: do not seek friends for entertainment, status, or emotional coddling. Seek friends for virtue. Look for people who demonstrate justice, courage, and honesty. Epictetus warned, if you would have a man loyal to you, be loyal to him. Seek people with integrity, and offer your own in return. Quality over quantity: be content with very few, deeply aligned companions. A large circle of fair-weather friends is a liability, a single friend committed to mutual ethical growth is a treasure. 2. The final act of dignity, prokopto. Your ultimate response is a quiet, dignified commitment to prokopto, Stoic progress. No revenge. Revenge is a vice that makes you dependent on your former friend's misery for your happiness. It gives them power over your state of mind. You must refuse that dependency. Seneca said, the best revenge is to be unlike him who performed the injury. Excellence as response: let your response be the quiet, undeniable excellence of your restructured life. Your new calm, your deepened character, and your success in your self-chosen duties are the only necessary retort. You prove, through your actions, that their rejection did not break you, it liberated you. You have been stripped of the external supports you relied upon. This is not a tragedy, but a purification. You are now free to build a life centered on the only things that truly matter: your reason, your choices, and your character. What is the first small, virtuous action you will take today to honor the commitment you've made to your own inner citadel? The philosophy of non-reciprocity: letting go of the debt. A particularly insidious aspect of social rejection by friends is the lingering feeling of unpaid moral debt. You gave time, loyalty, and emotional energy, and the payment you received was betrayal. This imbalance fuels anger and resentment. The Stoic must address this head-on with the philosophy of non-reciprocity. 1. The gift of giving, the mark of a good soul. The Stoic understands that the virtue is in the act of giving itself, not in the expected return. When you were a loyal friend, you were operating virtuously. The goodness was complete the moment you performed the kind or just action. Your virtue is intrinsic, your loyalty was a reflection of your good character. Their inability to reciprocate with equal loyalty is a reflection of their flawed character. Seneca states that a gift should be given not with the expectation of return, but with the hope that the recipient will become worthy of future gifts. The transaction is complete: do not allow their poor response to spoil your past good deeds. Reclaim the good feeling of your honest intention. You acted well, that moral success is yours forever. Their betrayal cannot retroactively make your past kindness a mistake. 2. The cost of resentment, the chains you forge. Resentment and bitterness are powerful emotions that keep you chained to the very people who rejected you. They become your jailers, living rent-free in your mind. The self-punishment: Marcus Aurelius warns, the best way to avenge yourself is not to become like the person who did the injury. When you harbor resentment, you are essentially punishing yourself for their error. You poison your present moment with the memory of their past misdeeds. True freedom is forgiveness. Forgiveness, in the Stoic sense, is not about absolving them of responsibility, but about releasing yourself from suffering. It is the practical realization that their error stems from ignorance or faulty judgment, a failure of reason, the only true evil. By classifying their act as an error rather than a malicious attack on your worth, you disarm its power over you. You simply accept the flawed nature of man, including theirs, and move on. Fortifying against future vulnerability, the Stoic will. The experience of rejection leaves a scar of vulnerability. The natural tendency is to withdraw entirely, fearing that any new relationship will lead to the same pain. The Stoic response is not to wall oneself off, but to build a tougher moral will. 1. Hardening the preferences, the practice of indifference. You prefer companionship to solitude, but you must now practice making that preference less rigid. Voluntary hardship. Ascesis intentionally practice being okay without the things you prefer. Spend time alone, dine simply, and find pleasure in tasks that require no social input. This exercise in self-denial helps you realize that external goods, like friendship, are luxuries, not necessities. If you lose them, your core happiness remains untouched. The principle of contentment. Cultivate contentment with what is immediately available, your ability to reason, your bodily health, and the present moment. This inner sufficiency acts as an armor, making you less desperately needy for any external person's approval or company. 2. The power of preemption, premeditatio malorum. Use the pain of this rejection to make future pain less shocking. Anticipate loss. Whenever you form a new friendship, mentally acknowledge its potential end. Treat every relationship as a loan that may be called in at any time. This doesn't make you cold, it makes you present and grateful for the time you have, while eliminating the potential for shattering surprise when the relationship inevitably changes or ceases. Define the non-negotiables. You now know the pain of having friends violate your ethical boundaries. Resolve that your next set of companions will be chosen with an unyielding commitment to virtue first. Never again compromise your principles for the sake of companionship. If a person's character seems shaky, exercise the courage to maintain your distance, no matter how charming they may seem. Your peace is paramount. Conclusion. The gain of the loss. You asked, why did my friends suddenly turn against me? The Stoic conclusion is that the precise answer is irrelevant, a trivial detail in the grand scheme of your life's progress. What matters is this: the loss of those friendships was the necessary condition for the discovery of your own self-sufficiency. You have been forcibly stripped down to your core, and in that moment, you found your true inner citadel, unshakable and eternally under your command. The work is complete when you can genuinely look upon their departure and say, not with bitterness, but with a quiet acceptance, my virtue is my master, and my peace is my reward. Their turning away was their fate, my resilience is mine.